Hello everyone, and welcome back. As now on the 136th episode, we are going to discuss about Jack Napier, also known as the Joker, the main antagonist of the 1989 film Batman, and overall one of the main antagonists in Tim Burton's Batman trilogy. The first and one of the most memorable cinematic iterations of the Joker, this version of the Joker is pretty much is considered to be among the first realistic incarnations of the character. And my compliments to Jack Nicholson, who has done a fantastic job in portraying him, as in this episode we are going to discuss all that we know about him throughout the movie, to understand Jack Napier and how and why he became the Clown Prince of Crime. And now, let's begin. Much about Jack Napier's past is largely unknown. All that we know about him is the fact that he was born into Brooklyn in 1943 and he moved into Gotham City sometime in his life, and he has always had problems with anger and with violent mood swings. But he had an immense intellect in arts, science, and chemistry, and he became a mob enforcer in Gotham City. And by 1969, he and Joe Chill have murdered Thomas and Martha Wayne and left their son Bruce Wayne as an orphan. And now, 20 years later, now by 1989, he himself has become the right hand man of the crime lord known as Carl Crimson, as he seeks to help him to consolidate his influence in Gotham as well as to take down Jim Gordon and anybody else in the GCPD. But sadly for them, a new problem has arisen, and that being Batman, who is in fact Bruce Wayne, the very boy he had orphaned 20 years ago, as they both met with one another at the chemical power plant in which Jack has officially fallen into chemicals, which he has survived, but he come out of there with pale skin, green hair and red lips. And in tandem the fact that he also had surgery to fix his cheek wounds, and all of this only made the problem worse, as he eventually got a permanent smile on his face that that he couldn't fix through surgery. And with this, Jack has finally went insane to do all of this and be accepted himself as the Joker, the Clown Prince of Crime, and he started his own reign of madness and chaos in Gotham City. He also murdered Carl and officially took over his criminal empire, as well as vowing to take over and destroy Gotham City and kill all of its people on the city's 200-year anniversary, as well as to kill Batman and destroy his legacy, and to keep Vicky Vale all for himself. And now, before we continue, now stop and ask ourselves: is Jack evil? And I do understand the question seems a bit useless given all that we discuss about him, but it should be noted here that the chemicals might have caused him to become even more insane than he already was, and much more evil and crueler. And thus, similar with the Joker from the Killing Joke, he too could be viewed technically as a villain by proxy. However, the biggest difference between him and the other Jokers is the fact that he was already evil even before he fell into the chemicals, as the Killing Joke's Joker was a simple struggling comedian who tried to provide for his family, and most other Jokers did have tragic and sympathetic backstories before they became the Joker. Now, Jack Napier pretty much was already a criminal even before he fell into the chemicals, and so he was already evil even before he became the Joker. And thus, this tragedy does not excuses, or even this excuse itself does not justify who he has become. And thus, the answer ultimately is yes. Jack is evil, and he's pretty much pure evil. And thankfully, at the end, everything he tried to do has crashed down on him, as Batman managed to stop him, and he himself fell to his own death, and his reign of madness came to an end once and for all. So in the end, who was Jack Napier's Joker? He was nothing more but a simple man who pretty much always lived into a life of crime and misery. A man that ultimately went to new heights of insanity and became a monster even worse than what he used to be. A monster that is willing to do anything and pretty much kill anybody in order to satisfy himself. And a monster that could easily be called as one of the most memorable villains made in cinema. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give a like and subscribe, and have a nice day.